Hi guys, I'm going to read you a story called How Thunder and Lightning Came to Be. The first word, I'm going to go over your vocabulary first. So your first word is drenched. Drenched means wet thoroughly. Here's an example. My clothes got drenched in the sudden storm. I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to answer it. What could you wear to keep from being drenched? I could wear blank to keep from being drenched. Go ahead and answer it. Okay, your next word is task. A task is a job or responsibility. Here's your example. Myra's task is to collect tickets at the game. What is your favorite classroom task? Think of all of our classroom jobs. I know a lot of you like to be the phone answer. What is your favorite classroom task? My favorite task is blank. Go ahead. Okay, I'm going to read the first card. How thunder and lightning came to be. Long ago, storms came without warning. The weather would suddenly turn from beautiful sunshine to stormy wind and rain. The people would have no time to gather their things and go inside their homes. Their clothes would get soaked, their fires drenched, and their cooking pots flooded. Sun wanted to find a way to warn people of coming storms, but he was too busy warming the land, so he asked two birds to help. Mr. Bird was small, fast, and silly. His wife, Mrs. Bird, was big, loud, and silly. Mr. and Mrs. Bird, I will ask you a home on a soft white cloud. I will give you a home on a soft white cloud, Sun said. Your only task is to find a way to let people know that a storm is coming. Certainly, Sun, we will find a good way, promised the birds. Okay, card 2. Your vocabulary word is drizzle. To drizzle is to lightly rain. I like to take a walk when it drizzles. Your question is, do you like to be inside or outside when it drizzles, and why? I like to be blank when it drizzles because. Go ahead and answer it. Okay. The birds flew to their new home on the soft white cloud. When they had finally settled in, it started to drizzle. They remembered what Sun asked them to do. It's starting to rain. How can we warn people a big storm is coming? Asked Mr. Bird. I have an idea, said Mrs. Bird. We'll shout a warning through the clouds. I think that's a very good idea, Mr. Bird said. The two loud birds pushed their heads through the cloud and yelled, "A storm is coming!" But they were so far away from the earth that no one heard them. Then Mr. Bird said, I have another idea. Let's run from village to village calling out a warning. I think that's a good idea, said Mrs. Bird. So the two birds ran from the village to village and bellowed in their loudest voices, "A storm is coming!" But they could not outrun the wind and rain. Part 3. Your word is blustery. When it is blustery, there is a strong wind blowing. On a blustery day, you can see the trees swaying or moving back and forth. If you were wearing a hat on a blustery day, what might happen to your hat? So you're answering that question. So on a blustery day, blank might happen to my hat. Okay, your next word is chilly. To be chilly means to be a little cold. Your example is, when I'm chilly, I get under a blanket. Your question is, what would you wear on a chilly day? A bathing suit or a sweater? On a chilly day, I would wear blank. Go ahead. Okay, one blustery day, it was time for Mrs. Bird to lay her eggs. She forgot all about warning the people. It's too chilly to fly back to my nest. I think I will lay my eggs in this cloud instead. Mrs. Bird said, it will be soft and cozy in this very windy day. Since Mrs. Bird was so big, she laid enormous eggs, and as soon as the giant eggs were on the cloud, a strong wind blew, and the eggs began to roll. Mr. Bird, catch the eggs, please! Mrs. Bird yelled in her loudest voice. Mr. Bird was far away from home, but he could hear Mrs. Bird calling. He began to fly his fastest. Mr. Bird flapped his wings so fast that sparks flew from his feathers. Zap! Zoom! Flash! As Mr. Bird flashed across the sky, he could hear the sound of Mrs. Bird's giant eggs bumping and banging through the sky. Clatter, rattle, rumble, boom! Clatter, rattle, rumble, boom! Card 4. Your word is, oh, we don't have a word on card 4. All right. Sun listened to the noise of thunder made by Mrs. Bird's eggs as they rolled through the clouds. He watched the streaks of lightning as Mr. Bird flew across the sky and gathered all of Mrs. Bird's eggs. Perfect, said the sun. The loud thunder and the bright lightning will warn the people. From this time on, the people have listened for the thunder of the Mrs. Bird's eggs and looked for the lightning from Mr. Bird's feathers. Only then do they know a storm is coming. As soon as they hear the thunder and see the lightning, the people hurry inside. High up on the cloud, Mrs. Bird keeps laying eggs and Mr. Bird keeps catching them. Once in a while, the silly birds still try to think of a way to warn people that a storm is coming. All right, guys. Hope you answered the questions and did all the vocabulary with me. See you later. Bye.